It won't be a calling out of the faithful. It'll be a shaking out of the unfaithful. And this is the key to understanding why God is not going to establish another movement, an offshoot movement, a parachurch movement. Why not? Because he's not going to call out the faithful, he's going to shake out the unfaithful.
Hey friends, once again, welcome back to another prophetic update with Lighthouse Beams Ministry. This is Brother Samuel here. If you're new here, please subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell, like it, share it with your friends. Now let's get right into the issue. You know who is talking about here. Pastor Conrad Vine, talking about parachurch movement. That's the issue that he's talking about. The difference and understanding of the difference between apostasy in the church and church in apostasy. Let's begin with that. I believe that is true. There can be a difference there. When we say there is apostasy in the church, we, in most cases, refer to, generally speaking, unbiblical practices seen, listen to this, amongst the membership, and there will always be disunity and confusion amongst the membership, sometimes ignorantly and sometimes knowingly, disobedience. But when we say church in apostasy, there is when there is apostasy in the leadership. Now, I'll allow Mark Finley to actually explain that, because we are in one accord. He explains our church goes into leadership, apostasy, church in apostasy, but he says it doesn't apply to Adventists, which I will show you that if we use his same definition, it can apply to our situation. Listen to this.
But as the Christian church grew large, church and state united, you know the story well. Shortly after the days of Constantine, by the time you come to 538 AD, we have the medieval church, the Roman Catholic Church, a church that during the Middle Ages persecuted the people of God, a church that was in apostasy.
A church that was in apostasy. What did he do to enter into apostasy? He started off by saying the church and state united. That is how the church went into apostasy. There is, again, biblically speaking, there is spiritual adultery, leaving God, because the power, the sword of the Spirit cannot convict with your own words. Now they're shaking hands with the government to use the sword of the state to persecute God's people, ignoring of religious liberty principle. Have we seen unity of church and state in the Adventist church so far? Yes, we have. Yes, we have. During the COVID crisis, the church united with the state and infringing upon the religious liberty of the members, the membership, treason in high places. Could we see the church is in apostasy? I believe so. And this is a shaking that, so if you are saying, no, it's not church in apostasy and it's going to get better as we go through. That is not what the Bible, frankly speaking, that is not what the Bible and the spirit of prophecy is saying. This is going to get worse and worse as we go towards the end. Let me create a hypothetical situation, which I do not believe is hypothetical. It's going to be real in the last day. The church gives the state gives a decree, worship on Sunday. If there are few people if there are some conferences who want to be faithful to Scripture, true to Scripture, what's going to happen to them? They're going to be openly executed, persecuted. Matthew chapter 24 verse 9 says, yes, shall be hated of all nations. Persecution is going to come upon everyone, upon every believer. Now, but what if, so they are going to be persecuted. It will be hard to maintain religious liberty within that time. It will be difficult. But, so, what will the church do? Or coordinate and organize the work? I believe this is what will happen. There will be an official organized body still functioning and running. But it is the church apostated. Why? The government will say, if you want to function as a normal church, an official church of the Adventist normal church in public settings, public location, obey our dictates, obey our mandates. And there will be people who actually uphold the standards of the government. That will be the standing of the official church. But if you want to stand for the truth, what will happen? Do you think they will allow you to function in an open setting? No, there is the time of persecution. United by the truth. There is my message. Now, I want to show an Adventist perspective for the importance of an organization, but I'll go back to the illustration of definition of apostasy, church in apostasy by Mark Finley. When the church unites with the government, apostasy sets in. That's very true. But listen to this. We know that the Jewish probation closed in AD 34. That is when they become Babylon. That is when they were removed from the God's mercy could not apply to them as a nation again. God's grace cannot be applied to them as a nation. AD 34, they were rejected. Before that, did they go into apostasy a lot of times? Of course, but did God reject them? No, He never rejected them until their time came. Now, after that, the Christian movement, which Christ Himself said, that's the church which later became the Catholic Church. When did they become Babylon? The Christian movement became Babylon in 1844 when they rejected the present truth. When they rejected the present truth, they became Babylon. But what about prior to 1844? Thank God for the Baptist Church. Thank God for the Lutheran. Thank God for the Presbyterian. All those people were God's organization, God's church. And you know what? Even from the Roman Catholic Church, they were still God's agent of ministering to the world. Amongst apostasy, but what constituted of the church of God? The people who bear the straight testimony, the people who lived up to the truth. That's why we applaud the Waldenses. You know, during that time, they were considered people who are going against the church which God established, Jesus Christ established. Do you see how hard it was for those people to maintain the name of Christ? They were categorized as outcasts. They were categorized as people fighting against the conference. That is what Jesus did. That is what John the Baptist did. But still, where was God's church during the 1,260 days? In the wilderness. Let me ask you, were there official churches in central places? Yes, there were official churches, the Catholic Church, which shake the hands of the government. And it was still God's agent for salvation. From there, they one by one break away and they called out heresies. But you know what? In that time, it was difficult because they saw it as God's agency. Many lives perished ignorantly during the Dark Ages, sadly so. But when did they become Babylon and rejected of God? At 1844. Before that, they were still the people of God in the Catholic Church, in all other denominations. There was darkness, but those who held to the true principles which they knew, they were God's church. Again, where was God's church during the 1,260 days? In the public centers? Well, there was an official organization in the public settings. But generally speaking, the church of God was in the wilderness, a church without an official structure. They were sometimes under the tree in caves without an official structure. Now, coming close to 1844, before 1844, what's the church? We call it the Philadelphia Church. What does Philadelphia means? Church of brotherly love. What does it consist of? Again, there was an official church that existed, but Philadelphia is our pioneers, some from the Methodist, some from the Baptist, Lutheran, all of them coming together, brotherly love. They said, we're not going to form any organization. We're coming together, united by the truth. That is specifically, Philadelphia specifically refers to our pioneers who the message was given. I said before, an open door to where? To the most holy place of the sanctuary, to the Laodicea Church, the church of judgment. Actually, Laodicea means a people judge, the Laodicea Church. So the church of God, the Laodicea Church, as it continued for 20 years after 1844, 1850, 1860, there was no structure. Again, the Philadelphia Church was a church without a structure. The church in the wilderness, a church without an official building. Even after 1844, they were without structure. And you know what? Adventist pioneers actually strongly debated the issue of coming up with an organization. And people like George Storrs, this is taken from the book Great Second Advent Movement, page 344. It says, this is what he said. George Storrs said, "Take care that you do not seek to organize another church. No church can be organized by man's intervention, but what it becomes Babylon the moment it is organized. The Lord organized his own church by a strong bond of love. Stronger than that cannot be made. Stronger than that cannot be made. And when such bonds will not hold together the professed followers of Christ, they cease to be his followers and rob off from the body as a matter of course." It says, they said, we analyze through the history and a organized body. In a long run, they actually became corrupted and bowed down to the government. They corrupted over time. We do not want an official organization. There was a strong debate. But you know what actually brought unity amongst our brethren? They saw the importance of fighting for the rights of the people. That is actually what caused the unity and the forming of an organization. From the same book, it says this is what Elder White said, James White, the husband of Ellen White. Organizations was designed to secure uniformity of action and as to protect from imposure. It was never intended as a scourge to compel obedience, but rather for the protection of the people of God. That's the reason why the Adventist Church actually came together to form an organization. Why? To fight, to protect the people of God, its members, its institution, so that they could stand up for the truth. You know what? There are things that solidify this to make it more stronger. For example, how can we defend our schools, our institutions? And sooner after that, the Civil War, when it came about, there were conscientious objectors, people who say we do not want to bear arms and go into war because we know that it's against the 10 Commandments. Do not murder, do not kill. The church had a responsibility to protect the religious liberty. When they said, because of my religious belief, I do not want to fight, they will say, which church do you pertain to? They needed an organization. That is what they did. By 1864, they provided an official statement to the United States government stating that all our members are not going to bear arms. Those who actually broke that 10 Commandment, that law, and went into war, you know what happened to them? They were censored, they were dealt with, they were punished from the church. Why? Because we hold biblical principles, stand true to biblical principles, and we defend our members who want to stand true to the religious liberty. Now what the church is doing, uniting with the government. What is it? Union of church and state in the Adventist church. What are we beginning with? The issue of health. Do you see that, friends? Friends, if you are blessed by it and want to see the whole video, click here. If you want to see another video similar to that, click here. And do not forget to subscribe and click the notification bell to stay updated. God bless you all.